Hello, everyone. The film I chose for our realism unit was Moonlight, directed by Barry Jenkins and produced by A24. And the major concept I chose to anchor my analysis was realism and social power. For my realism element, I chose mise en scène, analyzing lighting and color palette to how it aids the storytelling to the audience and to Chiron. Here are the three moments from the film that I think are great examples of mise en scène. Firstly, when Juan teaches Chiron how to swim. The screen is covered in the blue ocean with a white, cloudy sky. Personally, I view the film's use of white to represent safety, or when Chiron feels particularly safe, and blue to represent familiarity. Together, the pairing of colors make a comfortable, safe place for Chiron. This helps set up the color used in the movie and is what made me aware of its messaging. Secondly, when Paula, Chiron's mother, stands across from Chiron, sporting a red top with her pink bedroom lights illuminated behind her. Red is a warning signal. His mother is at her lowest. I can't help but think about the lighting too. It's not red, but pink. I interpret this two ways. Red and white make pink, so the parental figure Chiron is supposed to feel safest around is actually when he's most in danger. Or pink can represent femininity. Paula goes to men in her life, to her boyfriends for attention, and indirectly to Juan for drugs. She trades being a mother for those things, and this greatly affects her life. Lastly, when Chiron goes to visit Kevin after not seeing each other since high school. Kevin works as a cook at a diner, in his white uniform signifying to Chiron that he can find safety in him. Chiron is fearful of this encounter. Yellow flowers with red elements signaling he may be in danger if he shows how he really feels to Kevin. What does realism reveal about systems? Chiron doesn't return home after escaping his bullies, which results him in meeting Juan. When Juan asks if he wants to go home after dinner, Chiron shakes his head. This seems odd when Juan takes him home later because Chiron's mother seems kind and well-meaning. The truth is she is addicted to drugs and makes that her priority rather than raising Chiron. Juan feels like he has to step in, and when they meet again, another harsh reality is revealed that Chiron's mother buys drugs from Juan. And after all this, knowing what drugs have done to his mother, Chiron sells drugs as an adult, taking up after his greatest role model, Juan. There is a complexity to these characters, where they often do what they feel they need to do in order to survive. Chiron masculizes himself, feeling he has to hide his identity by mimicking Juan's, even after Juan tells him to be himself. He is a product of his environment, retaliating against his bullies and appearing tough on the outside for survival. What does realism hide by making something feel normal or inevitable? Though Chiron would like to believe one thing, as the audience we can visually see how he actually feels. Moonlight is a very colorful film, and certain colors appear in tandem to Chiron's intention and expose his true feelings. As a drug dealer, he channels the familiarity of Juan, but presents as black. When we arrive at this moment, we feel as though it was inevitable that Chiron came back to this life. In withholding his true identity, he has ended up here. He may appear stoic, but the reds and yellows in the scene exemplify his bubbling anxiety in a situation, especially around Kevin, the one person he's ever loved romantically. Here's how I connect my film to Chapter 4 of A Short Guide to Writing About Film by Timothy Corrigan. On page 83, he writes, if historical issues usually play some part in essays on the movies, another important and related way to discuss them is in terms of their cultural or national character. According to this approach, ways of seeing the world and ways of portraying the world in the movies differ for each country. And in culture, it is necessary to understand the cultural conditions that surround a movie if we are to understand what it is about. And on page 89, auteur criticism is one of the most widely accepted and often unconsciously practiced film criticism today. It identifies and examines a movie by associating it with a director or occasionally with another dominant figure, such as a star. In a sense, referring to a David Lean film or a Steven Spielberg movie in itself is a critical act because it implies the unifying vision behind what you see on the screen is the director's, and there are certain common themes and stylistic traits that link films by the same filmmaker. This film was produced by the production company A24. A24 films tend to share a stylistic identity, artistically made films with creative visual storytelling. Moonlight has very relevant themes to social and cultural realism. Smothering your true identity is a story many gay people have had to live with and experience. For some, it's all they are allowed to experience, like Tyrone, due to their circumstances. And in a low-income community like Tyrone's neighborhood in Miami, it's easy to fall into a cycle of drugs, as Tyrone burdens himself with in his adulthood. Moonlight has a message to its audience who sees themselves in Tyrone. Recovery is possible. Forgiveness is possible. Allowing yourself to accept who you truly are is possible, and it's something that you must do. In the words of Juan, at some point, you gotta decide for yourself who you're gonna be. Can't let nobody make that decision for you. Thanks for watching.